My name is Dawn Marie, and this is my channel, DM's Crafty Vortex. This is my channel about my love of cross stitch. So if you are looking for some cross stitch videos, you are in the right place. First, I want to thank all my existing viewers for coming back. I really appreciate seeing you week after week. And if there's anybody new here, thank you so much for coming, and hopefully you like what you see. If you do, I'd love a thumbs up and maybe subscribe and hit the bell so you can follow my progress on all my projects. Today is Friday, August 30th. It is actually in the morning today. I have the day off. My job gave us a long weekend for the holiday, so I thought I'd sneak a little video in here. If you are used to watching me, you will know this is a little bit sooner than I normally film. I'm trying to maybe film every 2 weeks instead of once a month for a couple of reasons. One of them being my pile's just getting way too big, and I just think it's gonna topple off from the spot. I'll put them all out when I'm done with them, so I'm hoping if I film every 2 weeks, I'll keep my pile a little bit more manageable. And two, I'm trying to do a rotation, which seems to be working really good, but I think a month out of picking projects is just a little much for me. I'd rather not know that I have to work on something 3 or 4 weeks from now. So I'm thinking every 2 weeks might be a little better. We'll see if I can stick to it. Filming twice a month, it's more filming and editing time. So we'll see. Right now, things are still slow at work. When things pick up, I'll see if I have time to film twice a month. But hopefully, we'll see how it goes. But so a few things I want to do today. First of all, of course, show the WIPs. I am going to discuss a new stitch along that a few of us are going to be starting, a little tiny bit of haul, and then at the end, I need some help picking my next WIP. So hopefully if you're all still here at the end, you're gonna help me with my new October start. And I know it's only August, but once it's picked, I need time to kit it up and get it ready to go. So let's get into the WIPs first. And I will be looking down because I actually took notes this time. So I'm hoping taking notes means I'll get everything in that I want. So we're gonna start out with, if you saw my last video, I showed you my plans for this month. I did actually get to everything, even though it's only been 2 weeks, but one of them still is gonna continue on. And one of the reasons I've decided to do every 2 weeks is even though I got to everything, I found that my rotation was, let's just say what my rotation is in case you didn't see last time. I tried to do a Monday through Thursday WIP, then a Friday WIP, and then a Saturday, Sunday WIP. So I had 2 focus projects. One I work every Friday and one I work every Saturday, Sunday. Loving those. I do not have any problems doing those every week. It was the whole Monday through Thursday on one project. Now there are projects I could easily do Monday through Thursday, and there are some projects that after one day, I just want to throw it away. And I found this rotation, I hit a couple of those, so I was alternating between 2 in the same week. So I'm thinking I need a little bit more leeway, and what I'm gonna do is pick 3 projects to get me through 2 weeks, and that way I'm not necessarily doing Monday through Thursday on all 3 projects. I can kind of just disperse them as I want them throughout those 2 weeks. Now, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna pick 3 projects that I do wanna work on for 4 days, and then I'm gonna put myself in the opposite situation. But we'll see how this one goes. So 3 projects for 2 weeks for my Monday through Thursday, but I can kind of fit them in, and if one of them I wanna work on for 5 days and one of them I wanna work on for 1 day, we'll just go with that. Because I did find that a couple of the projects, I just wasn't enjoying my stitching time, which is not the goal for what we're trying to do. So first project up is my flip-flop hat. Really? And my cat is literally laying on my stack of projects. Sorry, I should have warned you that I was moving the camera, and now see if we can get it back. All right, let's see if we can get this. Oh, and come on, let me have it. He's putting up a fight. There we go. So this is my oldest WIP. And it's a dimensions kit. Life is better in flip-flops. And it's my oldest WIP. I want it done, 1, because it's my oldest WIP, and 2, because I'm making it for somebody. But I am not enjoying this stitch at all. And because it's my oldest WIP, I look at some of my old stitches and they're just, And then I have a couple of mistakes, and because those mistakes are from 3 or 4 years ago, I forget that they're there. I'm not going to do the back stitching in the letters just because I don't like how it looks. I think it actually makes the letters look messy. I think they look neater without the back stitching. So I'm taking away that back stitching. I'm so close, but I just can't seem to work on it. So what I did with this is I have another project that had a lot of tedious stitching in it. So I kind of bumped back and forth and worked on both of them the same few nights. So I'd work on my other one and get a few stitches in, and then I would do this for like an hour. And this is on all kit stuff. I think it's just 14 count Aida. And this is where it is. I will have already showed you a this is where it was before picture. And I mostly worked on this flip-flop right here, which has a count and error somewhere up here, which threw everything off, and I'm just going with it. And I missed like 3 stitches of white over here that somehow I managed to spot. So this is where I'm at. I worked on it for, I think, 3 nights for maybe half hour, hour each, just before bed. Next up, and I should look at my notes, that's what I have. Next up, I worked on Aries. I'm going to show you a picture of what it would look like completed. I did 1,971 stitches for a completion of 3,331 stitches. The total project is 535,000 stitches, and it's at 0.62% complete. It's a Heaven and Earth Designs from Ruth Thompson. However, I think Ruth is no longer on Heaven and Earth, so I think this is now an out of print. I don't know if she's gone with another company or not, but this is Aries. It's in this bag. And I'll show you what it looked like before I started, so there wasn't much to it. And this is where I am now. I was working on filling in all this black, and I did a black line all the way down so that I can just fill without thinking. The problem with filling without thinking is, and I actually don't mind it, I don't mind background stitching. I kind of enjoy the mindlessness of it. But when it's pure black, I found I kept dozing off while I was working on it. So I also did sneak over here and start getting some colors in. And it's actually like 3 different shades of gray there, so you did have to pay attention, which kept me awake. So I'm just going to bump back and forth when I pull this out again. Get some mindless black stitching in, do some of the gray. If you look at the picture, there's a lot of gray. The gray is pretty much background also before I get into anything. And I think this is 28 count easy grid. My favorite's 25 count, but I had a while there where I started a bunch on the 28 count, and so now I'm stuck with them. And I have a bunch of 28 count left in my stash, so mixed in with my 25 count. So this is Aries, and this is where I got to on this rotation. So this was, I would do a bunch of this black, and then I would switch over to the flip-flop pattern. And this was the one I kind of went back and forth for the week on that. Then next up, oh no, my notebook closed. Bear with me, bear with me. Okay. Next up, I worked on Thee Wed. And this is, I believe, a Blackbird pattern, and this is another oldie. So it's Thee Wed from Blackbird Designs. It's part of a Remember Me series, and this is block number 5. Now I'm only doing this. I'm not doing, I didn't even realize back when I bought this that it was a series, because again, this was back in the day. And I started this on 11/20 of 20 because I started it on my wedding day. So I just put in a couple of stitches on my wedding day. So that would be my start. So it is a little wedding sampler. And my husband and I were discussing what I want to use for my initials, because technically they're using their maiden name initials because they have different last letters, but I don't have a middle name. So I have 2 first names, no middle name. So do I do just the 2 letters, my first initial, my last initial? But I do have 2 first names, so I do tend to use my 2 initials of my first name because it's hyphenated. So I'm trying to decide whether or not to do that because I do now have a middle name. Sorry, Flosstube, itchy nose, it's a thing. I do now have a middle name because when I got married, I took my maiden name and made it my middle name. But it just seems so weird to use that as the initial because for 49 years, I didn't use that as my middle initial. So not sure what I'm gonna put there. If I'm gonna do my 2 first name initials or do my real middle initial. I know it seems like such a little thing to think about, but I don't know. I've just been thinking about it. What do you think? What should I use for a middle initial? See, this is why I tell people, give your kid a middle name because the decisions you gotta make are real sometimes with that. All right, next up. Oh, I didn't even show you what I did on it. So maybe that helped. Maybe you want to see more than just the pattern. And it's not ironed because it's done on linen. It's done on, I really need to go back and look. I'm going to go back and look at an old video. And if I can find what this is stitched on, I'll put it below. But right now we're going to say it's just a mystery linen. Not even sure of the count. I think it was one of my first attempts at linen. And this is where it's at now. Let me see if I can at least get it to look somewhat decent. Let's see if we do this. So this was a last minute decision to film. So I am sorry about the disorganization. There we go, that's a little bit better. So I finished up around the door. I put in most of the windows, filled in the windows, and did a little bit of brown down here. So I worked on this for 3 nights. And I think I got quite a bit done. Considering the house is the biggest part of it, once the house is done, it's just this, well, the grass down below is pretty big too. So I'm not gonna do that whole cross stitch where I'm almost done and I'm not even close to done. But this is what I worked on. I used most of the call for colors. I made a couple of changes and I think those changes were just because I was in a rush to start and they didn't have them at the time. I can't remember if it was that reason or I didn't like the color. Who knows, 4 years later. But I did change dandelion stem, CC, what's CC? Crescent color, classic color. Changed it to schoolyard and then CC, oh, crescent colors. And I changed crescent colors, rosy glow to Chablis. So those are the 2 changes I made. And I think those were both like the pink in the windows. So again, Thee Wed, my wedding sampler. I mean, we're going on 4 years married. I probably should get some work in on it. We'll see if it gets pulled in. And then next up, I did a restart on Bellatrix. Really excited to get this started. Now, oh my God, do you reach that age where I got now and I can't remember what I was about to say. Okay. So this has only had 1 day in the rotation because again, I was going to film 2 weeks from now. So this is staying in my rotation. So I've gotten 1 day in it, but I plan on getting a bunch more. And this was a restart. So this is Bellatrix by Bella Filipina. This is what it's gonna look like when it's done. Love this. I can't believe I put it down for as long as I did. This is what I had done on it. I had so much done, but so this is what I had done on it. So much of this dress done. It's so beautiful, but I just didn't like the fabric. I don't think I would have wanted to frame it. And this fabric is perfect for somebody else. So this does have a new home. It is going to go to its new home next month because I'm actually going to see the person face to face to do the handoff. So they get to pick up where I left off. I did dye this fabric myself So I hope she loves it. And that will go to her. And this is where I am at now. I am using, so my new fabric. So the old fabric was just a 14 count Aida that I dyed myself. And I don't say just a 14 count because 14 count's great, just not for that project for me. The new fabric is a Grace Notes fabric, one of their fabric of the months. It's Mystique, and it is a 28 count Lugana. So here is my fabric choice. And, oop, I was mid-stitch. Hold on, let me. And this is where I am at. Let me take this off so you're not getting the ring light glow. This is where I'm at now. So, a little bit of a difference. But I'm gonna work on this. I still have a few more days before I put this away, and I'll see how close I can get to where I was. I won't be able to catch up completely, but at least get enough of a start so that there's something pretty on the fabric. And isn't this fabric super pretty? And I'd say the color is actually pretty accurate right now. My lighting is doing good. It's doing its job. So that's Bellatrix. I'm going to work on it hopefully a lot this weekend. It's actually going to take some of the time for my focus project because I'm going away this weekend. Going to see the LPGA golf tour just outside of Boston. So my husband surprised me with tickets and he's taking me away for the weekend. And I think it'll be easier to bring this project versus something on Pattern Keeper to work on. Plus, it's a lot of block stitching in this, so it might be easier at the end of the day when I'm exhausted after we've been on the golf course all day. And then tonight after traveling, you just never know what the lighting situation is going to be like. I wish I could stitch in the car because it's a couple hours drive, but I'll get motion sickness, which kind of makes the trip not as much fun. So I'm going to be working on Bellatrix this weekend, so it will steal some time from my focus projects. Hopefully I can sneak some time in on them later in the week, but I do really like my pulls, so I don't know if I want to take time away from my pulls this fortnight. Is that what 2 weeks is? So that is Bellatrix, and I only got one night on that, just a couple of hours. It's a super pretty bag it's in. Then one of my focus projects, so this is my, oh, I am so sorry. Did not mean to jiggle you like that. I worked on Dragon Artist, and this is from Pain Free Crafts. Nene Thomas is the designer on this. And this is my every Friday project. I did get 1,061 stitches since the last time I saw you, for a total of 5,617 stitches out of 335,999 stitches, for a total of 1.67% complete. I can't even read my own handwriting. And I am loving this project. I did have Pain Free Crafts kitted up. So excited about that. I don't usually do it, but I splurged, and man, that PayPal paying for it can get you in trouble, because I don't let balances run on my credit card. They get paid off every week, but this paying for it can get you in trouble. But anyway, so I had Pain Free Craft kitted up for me. I am not a floss drop person. I am a bobbinator, but I'm working with this. I'm bound and determined to keep it the way they kitted it. So this is how they kitted it. I do need to, because they fold it a couple of times, and then you just can't get it. It's a pain in the butt to get the flosses out. So I do just do it once. I was saying last time that I tried to do the whole pull it up with a needle and then it's all curly cute. And I had a few people say, wet it a little bit with your finger and that'll straighten it out. And I did try that, but I think I just preferred it. It's just as easy to take it off, pull a thread off, and put it back on with the way I have it now. So this is all kitted up. And I haven't been saying it, but I will always pop in the picture of what it looks like done. and a picture of what it looks like before, because I just feel like if I show you a little blurb and I don't show you what the completed project looked like, you don't know what to look for. So I was hesitant about doing this project because of all the gray on the dragon. And normally a cross stitch doesn't look quite as good as the picture. I mean, they look fabulous, but they're not a photo. I'd have to say this project, the cross stitching looks so much better than the picture. And the picture's cute, but the cross stitching, Pain Free Crafts, she did such an amazing job charting this up. It is gorgeous. And I'm going to tell you how gorgeous it is. And then I'm going to show you, and you're not going to be able to see what I'm talking about, which is so sad. But I am loving every stitch of this. So this is where I'm at. And I just wish you could see what I'm seeing. So in these dragon scales, there was some light blues and light mauves, and there's just colors other than gray that just pop when you look at it, that you're just not going to be able to see. So if you were holding off on doing this because you didn't want to stitch all the boring gray, get this project. It has been so much fun. And even the, oh my God, how did I just draw a blank? Confetti. Even the confetti isn't really truly confetti, at least for the way I stitch, because even if there's a stitch here, well, then there's a stitch, so you can kind of work your way down. So there's never just usually one stitch. You can normally find someplace else to go to get a few stitches in. I can normally go until my thread runs out. And I do from the tip of my finger to my elbow. That's about how long my thread is. And I can usually, for the most part, complete a thread. Because I used to park, I don't like having threads hanging all over the place. So this is where I am at on Dragon Artist, and I am not sick of it yet. I am loving every stitch on this. And I really just thought I was going to be bogged down in the gray, and I'm not. This is on 25 count, easy grid, and the needle minder came with the kit as well. So I got the fabric, the thread, and the needle minder came with it as well. Loving this. Can't wait to work on it again some more. It'll get worked on today, hopefully for a little bit before we hit the road. And I do need to put it away because, again, just nervous about these threads being like this. And I don't know if I showed a close-up of this. So she gives you the number, the color, and the symbol. So that's really nice. And so far, I'm actually starting to get used to using this, and it doesn't bother me as much as it did in the beginning, because I was tempted to take them all off the card and bobbinate them. But we're going to continue as is. Okay, the last WIP that I worked on this week is my Saki Dragon, and that is also charted from Pain Free Crafts. I absolutely adore Pain Free Crafts. And this was, Pain Free Crafts, Stanley Morrison is the designer. Darren the Dizzy Stitcher does have a stitch along going, but he started it a couple of years ago. And I think it's just the Stanley Morrison Sal, the Stanley Morrison Dragon Sal. So I can't remember anymore. It's been so long. I apologize. But if you start typing hashtags in Instagram, it'll pop up. I did 3,606 stitches since the last time I filmed. I have a total of 25,815 stitches out of 118,800 stitches. I am at 21.73% complete on this. I am so excited. I am loving this too. This is my Saturday, Sunday stitch. So I am a little sad about giving up Saturday on it, but I have Monday off. So I think I'll stick some of it in for some Monday time, but problem is that takes away from Bellatrix. But then Bellatrix has some weekend time, so maybe that's what I'll do. See, decisions made. I'll work on this Sunday when I get home from my trip, and Monday, because I really want to just keep going on this. And I'll have showed you what it looks like done. This is the bag it's in. And what it looked like last time you saw it. And, oh, let me take the Q-snap off. here. I thought I was organized this week. All right. So this is where it's at now. It's so pretty. I'm loving it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually working in this background. So I want to get this background down to the bottom of the Q-snap, and then I'll start working in the dragon, because it's barely at the edge of the Q-snap. So I want to be able to move this over when I start working on the confetti of the dragon. So I am getting a lot of stitches in pretty quick because it's all background right there. So that's my goal, is get the background in. And I think as I work my way down, I'll do that background, dragon, because there is a lot of background in it. And I don't want to just end on background, especially the farther down you go, as you'll have seen in the picture. You know, when you get to that teapot at the end too, that's a lot of white stitching. So this is where I'm at on this. So excited to have so much done. It's so pretty. And again, charted by Pain Free Crafts. I believe this one is 25 count instead of 28, which is making it even more enjoyable to work on. But let's look at the background for a second though. This is for background, this is beautiful background. It's definitely not mindless stitching. There is a lot of counting to the background, but I'm not ripping out. If I mess up on the background, I do not rip out, because nobody's gonna notice if one of these stitches is in the wrong spot. Unless I'm near one of the spikes, then you need to be careful, because you will notice if the spike stitches get off a little bit. So that's my Saki Dragon. Super excited on that. Can't wait to get more done. Get it back in the Q-snap later. Okay, so next up, we are starting a new stitch along. I say we because it's a group of us. So it is and I just put it down. It is An Enchanted Place. The site is Stitches So Beautiful. I think it's stitchessobeautiful.com to get to it. And the artist is Edward Jose Rosa. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I did get the max color version. It has 92,000 stitches, and I'll pop the picture up. It is so pretty. So I was watching In Stitches with Ebony. Big mistake, because I ended up pausing the video, pulling out my credit card, buying stuff I didn't need to buy, and going back and finishing her videos. So I picked up this. She's going to be doing it. Krissa Shalon from Instagram. I don't think she has a Flosstube. There's no Flosstube linked when I clicked on her name. So we're doing the we're doing the An Enchanted Place Sal, starting it tomorrow, which is the 31st, but feel free to join us at any point in time. Please tag us if you post pictures on Instagram, because hashtags don't really work on Instagram anymore. So if you are stitching on it, please tag us if you make any progress. So far, we've managed to get Hannah Darling and Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches. I have to look at it because she's just in my favorites. She just pops up, her and Hannah, so I don't ever have to type them in. So Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches and Hannah Darling, both Flosstubes. I believe Hannah's filming tonight too, which I can't wait for her video to pop up. I love watching her. So we're all doing the An Enchanted Place Sal. So again, In Stitches with Ebony, Krissa Shalon, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, on Instagram, and then Hannah Darling and Blushing Pink Stitches. So join us for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, I'm doing the max color version, and it's not very big. It's only 92,000 stitches. And I know 92,000 stitches sounds like a lot, but in the scheme of a full coverage, that is nothing for a full coverage. So I made a bag for it. Now, this bag is not my typical fabric that I normally pick, but is this not perfect? I'm gonna put the picture up again. Does this bag not go perfectly with this stitch along. So I've got that done. It's because I'm doing the max color, I have 2 boxes in here. Now the problem I'm gonna have right now with the stitch along is I will try to start tomorrow. I'll bring this with me, try and start tomorrow. I'm not gonna get many stitches in because I don't have my floss yet. So I'm going to be using CXC floss. Remind me next time to tell you all what flosses I'm using because I go back and forth between DMC and CXC. I'm going to be using CXC floss on this, and my CXC floss has not come in yet. However, I have another project kitted up with CXC floss that I haven't started yet. So I stole from them, from that project, to at least have enough to get my first few stitches in. And then when the floss comes in, this will get completely kitted. And as soon as I get this completely kitted, it's going to get a full week of my time. I'm going to bump whatever project I'm working on and put this in its place. So that is my enchanted place now. Okay, now, before I go into hauling plans, I need your help. So I want to start a new project in October. I'm not going to do any drawing for my random wheel in October. I have 3 Halloween projects that I get them pulled and they're going to get some love, but I want to start a new project. And I started getting overwhelmed because I buy a lot of Halloween type projects. So I'm going to show you the contenders. And then if you all can vote for me, please. And again, I'm starting now because some of them have to be kitted up. So if one of them that needs to get kitted up gets picked, I want to have time to get my floss, get my fabric, and get it all set to go. So here are my contenders. I'm going to have to reach for a second. So option 1 is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine, October of 2021. I've had this for a while. And this, so this is option 1. We will call this, what are we going to just call this? The Enchantress. So it's the Halloween Enchantress. So a vote for the Enchantress if this is the one you want me to start. The next option is a Glendon Place Phantom Plantation. So just say plantation. If this is the one you want me to start. There's only 4. I had way more, I'm embarrassed to admit, but I just picked the 4 that really were calling my name. The third one is an Autumn Lane Stitchery. Moons Out, Brooms Out. So just say brooms if this is the one you want me to start. And then the last one to choose from is another Glendon Place Sleepy Hollow. You can just say Sleepy if this is the one. So which one do you think I should start for October? Vote down below. I'm going to film again in 2 weeks, and I will let you know which one I pick, and then I can start trying to kit it up and get it ready to go. All right, plans for what I'm going to work on this go around. I'm going to keep Bellatrix in the rotation because it only got 1 day. I'm going to keep Dragon Artist as my Friday stitch. And I'm going to keep Saki Dragon as my Saturday, Sunday-ish stitch. As we've seen, there's going to be a little jiggling around, trying to fit plans in. And then I drew 2 other projects. I draw from a tiny wheel, which is on my phone that I'm using to film. So you just have to take my word for it. This is what the tiny wheel picked. And the first one it picked was Dragon of the Snabat. So now I'm back to block stitching again. So this is where I'm at. And I don't even know if I'm close to doing like I did on Aries, where I can just get a line, because there's a lot of black stitching on this. But I'm going to see if I'm close enough in this Q-snap that I can do that. I kind of liked doing that so that I know where my fill-in line ends. This one is on 28 count Easy Girl Lugana as well. I think I went with 28 count because of all the black. And then my other drawer, which I'm really excited about, is a project that I did this thing with Anna, who used to film with me, where we each went on the other's Heaven and Earth wish list. So she picked something off my wish list and I picked something off her wish list, and we had to start what was picked. So we might have started something that we weren't necessarily going to probably start right away. And she did pick something that wasn't on my immediate, I need to have this list. But I'm glad she did, because I'm really excited about working on it. It's in this bag right here, which is the name of the project. I don't want to say it wrong. It is the, I hope I wrote it down. I did not. I think it's called the Witchwood Express. I was going to say, hold on, it's on my phone, but again, I'm filming on my phone. Oh, wait. I have my tablet. I'm so sorry. And the glare is going to get worse. That probably, I don't know if it will be the next time I film, but the time after that, I had an eye appointment. And these are just cheap readers. I am going to be upgrading to progressives. Hopefully I can get used to them. I'm told that it takes a couple of weeks of wearing them to get used to them. I've also been told that I can't wear them at work because my computer screen, I have 3 computer screens, and they said that with 3 computer screens that I'm probably just better off having my readers at work. All right, Witchwood Express from Heaven and Earth Designs, and artwork by Lisa Parker, and I'll have inserted a picture. I just find that inserting the pictures, it's a little bit more work for me, but I think they look so much better than trying to do this whole, here's this little picture thing. So, and my starting point on this is a teeny tiny start. Here's where we're at. We'll see what I can get done. And it's another 28 count. I will be in 28 counts for a while until I start some new projects on 25 counts, which I did not do with Enchanted Place. I had the perfect size scrap of 28 count to start in Enchanted Place. And if I wanted to do the 25 count, I would have had to cut into a nice big piece. So I didn't. So I used my scrap. So that'll be another 28 count project. But it just means that I'll need to start some new projects on 25 count. And I did buy a couple of other projects from Stitch Is So Beautiful. I'll see if I can remember to insert the pictures right here, because we are now ready for the haul portion. And aside from those 2 pictures, the only other thing I have is my fabric of the month from Be Stitch Me. So there will be crinkling at this point. For Be Stitch Me, my haul, I get a 1/4 yard of linen in the neutral and a 1/4 yard of Lugana in the color, but this is my first time getting the 1/4 yard, and I opened it up and didn't realize, and I'm a quilter, I should know how small of a 1/4 yard is. And I just feel like if I'm going to waste the money on fabric, I don't want to keep pulling out fabric and it being too small, so I have put my tails between my legs, emailed her and asked her to bump me back up to the 1/2 yard. But these are beautiful, and I should have taken them out of the wrappings, and I did not. So we'll take them out now. I apologize. And she's changed her label since the last time I was in the club. So this is Be Stitch Me. Oh, spoiler alert. If you haven't got your fabric yet for August, do not look. This is the last thing I'm showing, so you won't miss anything if you leave now. So this is Sandbar, 28 count Lugana, and it is beautiful. It is fairly close. I'd say maybe it's a shade not as bright as what you're seeing, but look at how pretty this is. So pretty. I am so sad that I don't have 1/2 yard of this. And then I have 28 count linen, and this color is Boot Camp, and this is the neutral. And I like to get the neutral for the linen because linen absorbs dye better, so I'd rather the lighter color be on the linen so it picks it up more. So again, this is Boot Camp, and this is linen. And I'd say, yeah, we're gonna go A+ on the lighting for today. So there is that. And I did also want to give a shout out to Jen, the caffeinated crafter. I am not sure how she has never showed up in my feed recommendations before, but she hasn't. And I can't remember which Flosstuber recommended her, but I went over to her, watched her 2 WIP parades. Then after I watched her WIP parades, I had to watch her plans. And then after watching her plans, I had to get caught up on her videos. And she has a lot of WIPs. In watching those WIPs, I've realized that I'm just gonna start some more WIPs. I mean, I know I tend to do a new start every time I show, but I do actually hold myself back. So she's kind of one of the reasons I'm gonna do the October WIP, because I just had so much fun seeing all her WIPs and all her variety. And if I've already bought the pattern, why not? So, and I do love her rotation, and I love her new rotation because it's so exciting to watch her pick her part, which I guess I kind of do anyways with my tiny decisions wheel, but she picks paper, actual paper pieces. Oh yeah, so huge shout out to Jen, the caffeinated crafter. Love watching her videos, love watching getting caught up. Now I can't wait for her next video. So I am going to sign off now. I'm going to get this edited, and I'm going to watch In Stitches with Ebony, because I saw just before I signed on that she released a new video today, and I can't wait for Hannah Darlin's video tonight to watch, tonight when I'm in a hotel room and my husband will have control of the TV and I will have my little iPad with me to watch my YouTube. So hopefully I will see you again in 2 weeks if I can keep this up. If you made it to the end and you voted, thank you so much for helping me decide. And until next time, happy crafting.